Hey everyone, this is Ben from T3 bringing you a game from the top 8 regional championship that happened in Las Vegas. On the left we have Isaac playing HB, and on the right we have Timmy Wong playing Whizzard. And special guest commentator with me today, I have Timmy Wong.
Hey Ben, thanks for having me on again.
Yeah, of course, man. Thanks for coming on. You put up quite the showing in this regional.
Yeah, I did. I managed to make top 8 here. I didn't make top 8 in the first regional I went to in Northern California about a month ago. So it felt really good to make it this time. And you'll have to wait and see how well I did.
So this matchup is one that I feel like we've seen a lot. Well, we would see it a lot if this was a typical Dumbleforks build anyway. I hope I'm not spoiling too much there.
Well, it's kind of a repeat of my Worlds matchup, I suppose. I'm playing Whizzard against HB yet again. My opponent here is Isaac from the Idaho area, but he plays in the Utah Valley meta, as you can see from his playmat. So here I'm playing actually an unorthodox Whizzard build. It's a Siphon spam Whizzard. And I've opened up with Making an Entrance, which is a new card from Southside Island. It lets you look at the top 6 cards of your deck and rearrange them and trash any of them. It's super powerful, gives you a ton of options for planning out your next few turns, and I take forever when I play this card. So sorry about that.
I hadn't played this on the day. I was fairly fortunate not to run into too many Anarch builds, but this card is so good in my playtesting. It's unbelievable how much that helps.
Yeah, it's really strong. It just gives you more options than I think any other card has before.
Yeah. I feel like it's one of the first priorities, or one of the main priorities. Like, it's the one you would want to play, right? I mean, like, Fisk Investment's not bad, but just being able to start the game knowing what the next 6 cards are is a much stronger ability. Plus, you can just get rid of the stuff you don't want.
Definitely. So, with this deck, I'm basically using it to try to set up Account Siphon as soon as possible. I'm guessing I probably kept my hand because I already have access to Account Siphon. Here I just need to find some kind of breaker to let me get in, maybe. So I'm trying to plan out my next few turns, see how I can set up this Account Siphon most efficiently.
It looks like a Deja Vu forked. I think there's a Faust in there, and another showing off, or no, not showing off. Making an entrance.
Yeah.
And the Data Sucker. And I think you're trashing one.
So I'm putting Making an Entrance on top again, which is kind of strange because I already know what the next few cards are. Maybe I'm making a mistake there. I'm pretty tired at this point, as typical for the top 8.
Yeah, this has been after quite some time of Netrunner, even though it was a very smoothly run tournament, actually. This card seems very, very mentally taxing, we'll say.
Yeah, I just can't deal with this at this point. I'm trying to what the heck am I going to do over my next 8 clicks or whatever?
Parasite? Who plays Parasite? What's this?
It's a pretty good card in this deck. Yeah, so this top 8 was actually 5 Southern California guys. A lot of us came out to this tournament, and 3 guys from the Utah meta. So that was really interesting. Okay, I finally made my decision. I'm going to draw a Data Sucker after Making an Entrance, play it. Data Sucker is really nice to have set up. Once you can Account Siphon and make a bunch of free runs, those Sucker counters really come in handy for dealing with whatever ice they manage to res. And I already have a Faust. So basically I can Account Siphon if Isaac sets up a board that lets me do it. Do I have it in hand?
I don't think you have a Siphon in
maybe
hand.
not.
I see a same old thing or two. But Isaac, on the other side, HB's gotten a pretty interesting upgrade here in Jeeves, or asset, I should say, new card and asset. But you're trying to take a look at HQ here. I feel like you're trying to get an idea of what's in front of HQ so you can start landing Siphons, or at least prepare yourself a little bit.
Yeah, I want to scout out HQ. So I could discard 2 cards to break the Architect R&D sub, but I decided it's probably not worth it. My hand is pretty useful at this stage. I would have to waste a bunch of clicks drawing up. So I'll let him get one free install, and scope out HQ.
And there's not many people that would willingly let Architect fire with the means to avoid it.
Yeah, if I had bad cards in my grip, I would probably have trashed those, but I'd rather not get rid of important cards that I'll need pretty soon.
That's a really interesting play. I'm not really sure why Isaac would install the Cyberdex. Is he, unless you're like really worried about Data Sucker or something, but that's just going to get trashed immediately to you.
Yeah, that's a bit of a strange play. I guess he thinks that one Data Sucker counter is pretty important. It does let me break Architect for cheaper.
Oh, and that's why you put the showing off on top.
The making an entrance.
Making an entrance, yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. So I set up those programs like that extra fast that I didn't want on after my inject, so that I would inject into them and trash them for money.
Yeah, there's a lot of really, really cool synergies with the Anarch cards and making an entrance. And it's one of the more interesting things about it, I think, is how what makes it interesting in Anarch is how it interacts with the other Anarch cards, even though the card to me is so much more of a criminal card.
Yeah, it's interesting. The card selection is pretty criminal, and the trashing is Anarch, but it's also very calculated.
But getting Isaac here is just getting his Adonis online, getting some economy set up, trying to maintain a little bit of a board state. I would expect that's a hard ETR over the Adonis, as HB generally likes to do.
Well, it could be a Turing. That's pretty common on a remote. So I'm going to check it first click in case it is a Turing, but it is a wall of static. And yeah, I really want to get in there and trash the Adonis because 9 free credits will be very bad for my econ denial game plan.
Yeah, after watching all of these games, I've noticed Adonis, if you can stop HB from getting any of their campaigns off or having them really get money from the campaigns, it's such a much more difficult game for them.
Absolutely. Denying them every campaign, if you can do it, is really, really good against HB. It's just not always feasible. Here, Isaac has decided to put a second ice every HQ. So I'm not sure if he's heard about my weird wizard build, but he has seen a lot of strange cards out of it already with making an entrance and inject. So he might be smelling that something else is afoot. Or he might have also heard it from Spencer, who I played in the last round of Swiss, who is from his meta.
Nice, good play here. Getting that wall of static resed, which HB needed to do here. Just you forced open a hole in R&D and capitalizing on that a little bit, getting some points going ahead.
Right, and now I'm going to go back and use the sucker counter to save fast card and trash the Adonis. So I'm feeling pretty decent at this point. Oh, mistake. That was from the top of R&D, so I've asked him to reshuffle. Yeah, because of that second ice on HQ, I won't be able to land an account Siphon for a long time. But on the other hand, Isaac doesn't really have anything else going for him at this point. His board state is pretty undeveloped. And
there really isn't any money for you to steal at this point in the game either.
Right. So we're going to stare at each other, and he's going to click for credits, and I'm going to try to set up more. Make a second entrance here.
All sorts of entrances for you.
Indeed.
Looks like another deja vu. I think that's your plan to solve. Might be a medium in there. I think you got a medium and an injector too.
Top card is Retrieval Run.
Oh, and a sure gamble. There it is. Is that an employee strike? Maybe it's an employee strike.
So the gamble is a good card for me because I want some unconditional money, and gamble is actually my only money card in the deck other than the account Siphon.
Wow, that's a bold move.
Yeah, it is.
A lot of click. Did you click for credits a lot?
Oh yeah. You'll probably see it in this game. One thing that I didn't actually realize during the game was that we were doing 35-minute rounds in elimination, which hasn't been standard since Worlds 2 years ago, I think. Now normally it's 40-minute rounds. So there was less time in this round than I thought would be available. Yeah, so off the making an entrance, I only trash one Femme. Femme is great in the deck because it's so easy to trash with cards like making an entrance and inject, and I'll just retrieval run it back later for free. Pretty handy.
Yeah, and it's not that's actually a really big help to your tempo too. You don't have to waste clicks drawing it up or anything like that. You can just kind of skip the middleman.
So here's the second architect on RD. Super annoying. I can never trash those architects, so they'll always be around to irritate me. I keep losing pretty valuable like recursion cards to break those architects. But do what I gotta do.
And you're keeping him poor. I mean, like, this is still a major facet of your deck. I feel like you play Siphon, so I'm assuming it's more of a tag, meaning you use it as an economy boost. But denying them the economy, especially HB this early in the game, is really big too.
Absolutely. So here I've played Employee Strike when he's on 0 credits, which is
so good.
Really, really nice, yeah. It'll take him a long time to build up to the point where he can actually score an agenda. Yeah. So this is going to deny him a lot of credits from his identity.
Yeah, I had actually had a similar situation against Jerry. I Employee Striked him playing HB when he had 1 credit, and it really set him back. I like that play a lot. It's not one that I feel like a lot of players would make against HB, is playing the Employee Strike. But if you can take advantage of it at the right time, you really can catch HB off guard. It really affects their tempo in a big way.
It depends on how early you can play it. If they get set up later, if they can just push out an agenda pretty fast, then it doesn't do much. But since my deck is based around keeping the corp in the early game, Employee Strike is a great fit for really slowing their development. And on my last turn, if you noticed, I clicked for a bunch of credits because that's what I do. And that's what he has to do because I'm going to trash any money asset if he tries to res.
Didn't he? I think he installed both of those cards in the server.
No, that was installed a long time ago from the architect.
You're correct. Okay, forgot about that. You just hadn't gone off and checked it yet.
Yeah, I think I just never quite had the tempo. I really wanted to draw up and get my money and option set up before wasting my time on it. Since he didn't do anything with it for a long time, I figured it probably wasn't important right now. And it was just another Adonis campaign. So I just have to kill it this turn to stop him from getting value. And he clicks for 2 credits and plays Hedge Fund. So he has money again.
I thought he has a Subliminal. I thought I saw a Subliminal in Isaac's hand. Maybe.
I did not see.
Oh, okay.
But I'm going to check the remote first click again in case it's a Turing, but it's an IQ. I think he definitely does play Turing, but he also plays a bunch of these hard ETR like IQ, which are pretty good against me.
Well, the IQ isn't often going to be in David range, I feel like.
True, but it's a flexible card. Here it's strength 5, so it's pretty annoying for me to break. And sometimes Isaac was pretty good about like resing it for 3 sometimes, which is a good discount, and then setting it at like 4 or 5 depending on where he wants it to be. It's flexible.
That's really awesome. I've found that very hard to do with IQ. It always seemed to be like it's doing nothing for me, or it's just too expensive to res.
It's a pretty hard card to play with, but I think if you manage to pay attention to it, it can be pretty powerful. And Isaac was doing a great job. Well, here he gets the Subliminal. Maybe he just drew it. So now I want to run every turn, but because of those architects, I can't make profitable runs very frequently. I did draw an account siphon at this point, so I'm probably trying to set up for that. I want to draw enough extra cards so I can break whatever is in front of the architect and the architect, though.
And the plant assault here, though, and you could even do a double siphon in 1 turn if that gets opened up. I'm not sure if that's something you explored in the tournament at all.
Yeah, possibly. It's hard for the Corp to actually amass that many credits against my deck, though. Like, he would need 10 credits above whatever it is that he spends resing this ice. Yeah, it's really hard figuring out how to play around face down ice with this deck, especially against HB, where I want to have as many clicks as possible to break Bioroid ice, but I also want to have enough cards to break, say, an IQ in front of that architect.
But so far, we haven't really seen any bio... Okay, so there we go. The Ichi is the first piece of Bioroid ice we've seen all game. Besides that, he's going with actually a pretty unstereotypical HB build. Although I guess I would kind of assume here it's a little bit different from your typical food coats. Like, this is a type of deck I would assume that we have a Jeeves in, and we'll be. I am assuming we're going to be seeing that here. It makes sense, and that was an interesting play there to get the Femme for the IQ so early.
The reason for that is because I want the Femme anyway to deal with these architects. I don't want to have to trash cards to break those every time. So given that I'm getting the Femme anyway, I decide the most problematic ice that on the board is probably the IQ. Without a David, I don't want to have to spend like 3 cards to break that, or a sucker and 2 cards. So I decided to just neutralize it with the Femme. I'm not sure if that was the right call. Possibly one of the HQ ice would have been better.
I mean, yeah, because if you wanted to land the Siphon, I mean, I don't know. I guess I can see the merit with the IQ, because that is a pretty annoying piece of ice for you. Because none of your breakers are normal. I mean, I just got to play you today, and I don't think you were playing any standard breakers, we'll say. It was all Faust, David, and Femme, and Knight.
It's 3 Faust, 1 David, 1 Femme, 2 Knights. Yeah. So none of the typical Anarch breakers. Well, Faust is very typical at this point, but yeah.
Faust is a good everything breaker at this point.
At this point, I think Isaac has just pretty much figured out that I'm on some kind of weird Siphon plan. So it's going to be tough for me to get the Siphon off. Like, he only has 5 cards now, so he'll just spend most of it rezzing whatever that ice is. So I need to wait until he gets richer.
But he still hasn't seen any of your tricks, really. Like, he's seen the Femme in the Retrieval Run, but that's not a big part, a big facet of your deck, we'll say. I mean, like, he probably thinks something's up, but your cover's not totally blown, I think.
That's true. He's going for a remote play here, which is pretty good play if he does anticipate the Siphon, since, again, he's too poor for me to Siphon him right now. But I still kind of have to deal with this remote. So I could try to pull off an account Siphon just so he can't res the remote ice, but I think that's probably too risky right here. I'm just going to check and see what's going on. See if he actually wants to res this ice and really commit to this remote server right now. And he does. It's the 3rd architect. Oof.
Not what you want to see at this point.
I mean, all of HP's ice is pretty annoying, but yeah, I would have rather seen like Eli or something.
Only cost 4 to get in with them.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's exactly what's going through your head too.
I'm deciding whether I need to break all these subs, whether I need to get in to actually check this card. Like,
the 2 Adonises seem like it would be really daunting for you to not break that subroutine. I mean, like, especially right now with his economy in the place it is.
Yeah, but even that Wall of Static, like, I don't really want to spend 2 cards on that to see what this face down is. It's probably like Jeeves. Gross.
Another campaign or something.
Yeah, but it could also be an agenda, is the thing. Okay, so
letting it fire.
I guess I'm letting the R&D fire, and I guess I didn't break anything, right?
Yeah, it didn't look like you broke anything. That's 2 architects you're running into now, Timmy.
Yeah. Not sure if this is right, but I've spent a lot of effort trying to set up my board state too, and I don't really want to keep setting myself back. I guess I'm okay with letting him get some installs here. I feel like I can just deal with whatever he gets pretty easily. Like, okay, he's going to put Cyberdex on R&D, which is a pretty good choice, I think. If he gets Adonis, I'll just trash it at some point with Whizzard. And he put a card from R&D behind the IQ, which is probably some annoying asset.
Yeah. But it's easy enough for you to go in and check that with the Femme.
Yeah.
With the Femme in play. And even still, I think you're... Oh, no, you are going to try and get in that server. Okay.
Yeah, after hitting the Architect, I need to just commit to accessing because I don't want to have to break the Architect a second time if it's something that I do need to trash. I want to get rid of this card now. It's a Jeeves, and it's good to get rid of Jeeves.
Yeah, that seems the Jeeves seems like it's a really, really annoying thing to try and work around. I haven't had to play it against it yet, luckily, but there's been a lot of noise online about that card.
Yeah, there's some differing opinions on how must-trash of a card it is. I think it's not necessarily a must-trash right away, but you can't really let the corp have it for a whole game. That's too much of an advantage. So if you can trash it, it's usually good to get it if it doesn't cost you an arm and a leg. But the trash costs 5, so it's kind of an arm and a leg.
Not for Whizzard. Just like, yeah.
Yep. Right.
And people have found a way to trash Sands for this many years.
Indeed.
I think that's just as annoying as Jeeves.
Absolutely. Whizzard is very good and keeps getting better because the cycle has printed a lot of cards with trash costs.
Yeah. But at this point, I mean, like, if I was Isaac, I would be baffled by your board state. I mean, what do you do? It's such a weird series of cards to have out, and
it is. But he is slowly getting ice rezzed.
And his ice is really good against your suite. I mean, the Architects cost 4, the Wall Statics for 3 cost you 2 cards with Faust.
Mm-hmm.
So
clearly he built this ice suite with Faust in mind,
yeah.
As all corps really have to do at this point.
Yeah, that's been a really significant difference in every aspect of deck building. It's just like becomes second nature to try and build around that card now. But going for the Cyberdex here, or at least trying to get rid of it.
Yeah, Cyberdex is pretty good against my deck. I don't know. I'd rather just get rid of it before it's even more annoying. And I put down a Vigil, which hopefully will draw me a bunch of cards this game. The free card draw from Vigil really is something that puts the screws to the corp and makes my economy more efficient than theirs when we're both kind of really poor and in the gutter.
And this is something that I'd seen you do as well, is making an entrance plus Vigil is super good. Free card drip that you control is so strong.
It's pretty nice when it works.
I mean, that seems so ideal. And like between this and Inject and all of these other things, it seems like a good way to capitalize on this new card.
Very true. But here I've run out of profitable runs I can make now that he has ice rezzed on every server. So he's getting those subliminal messagings back, which is not great for me. I would really rather deny that if possible, but there's just not too much I can do.
Interesting a choice playing 2 subliminals as well. I think that's just kind of this HB deck here is just trying to maximize and really be able to get as much credits as they possibly can. I mean, between subliminals and Jeeves that we've seen, there's a lot of extra things that you can do to gain clicks, and I'm sure the subliminals could work with Jeeves as well.
Yeah, that's the reason why they're in the deck. The most combo-y things you can do with Jeeves tend to be playing 3 operations. So if you play Subliminal, gaining the click back, and then Shipment from Sansan, that's Fast Advance and Agenda for 0 credits. So that's why you play 2 or 3 Subliminal messaging.
Oh, I see. Because of the second click for the double events?
Right.
That counts as, okay. That's pretty good.
It's pretty crazy. Not super clear from reading the card whether that works or not, but Damon Stone has clarified that it does work.
And here we go. We're in a Siphon play after he installed Advanced. So
first I just ran HQ because I just wanted him to res the ice, but he didn't bite. So I'm going to just go ahead and account Siphon, hoping that it's something he can't res, and I'll get enough money to go and get that agenda. It's an Eli, which I have to decide whether I want to click through and lose the rest of my turn or not. And I guess I'm okay not siphoning here because he only has 2 credits. Mostly I just wanted him to res the ice and be broke, or to let me in and let me get a bunch of money. But now he still has 2 credits. He probably can't score if that's a food. But if it's some other agenda, he could score next turn. So I'm thinking I probably still have to run it this turn and just hope that it's not an NAPD.
And that's what you do.
Yeah, spending the rest of my money and 2 cards.
Yep. Sucker token the architect.
And let's see what it is. Oh, it's an NAPD. Womp womp. NAPD is still super, super good even when it costs points. And
it's something we haven't really seen that much of.
arguably, it's gotten even better because people expected less.
Yeah, I've been running a lot less with 4 credits, and it's a really big difference. And that 4 credits hurts a lot more now.
Yeah. So that was great play by Isaac. That really set me back, spending all those resources to try to get to that agenda and not being able to get it. But I don't know. I probably could have tried to play around in a PD and gone directly for the agenda. That would have been a better play. So instead of just scoring out the NAPD and going down to 1 credit, Isaac smartly realizes that there's no way I'll be able to get 4 credits and get back in. So he's just going to hedge fund here before scoring the agenda.
And looks like you're, more Vigil bucks, or more Vigil. Oh no, you didn't get Vigil, did you? There.
He played hedge fund, so probably not.
Oh, either way.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, what the plan of attack here is for you, I feel like, is kind of limited. I mean, he's been doing a really good job of icing. Isaac's been doing a really good job of making everything expensive. I mean, the subliminal that he plays, it makes a lot more sense now. I mean, like, you don't really want to run into a lot of these things. The architect is bad. Ichi's bad.
I agree. I think I probably played that last 2 turns, the turn 2 turns ago incorrectly. I think trying to go for HQ and then making the Siphon was the wrong play. I just wasn't sure what that ice in front of HQ is, and Eli turned out to be particularly bad for me. Yeah, I think if I had been smarter, I could have clicked for some credits and then gone in and gotten the NAPD. That would have turned out pretty well, and waited to make the Siphon play when it was going to be more profitable. Now the employee strike is gone, which is good for Isaac, and I'm still really poor and he's rich, which is not a good spot to be in. Oh, and the problem here is because I've had to trash so much of my recursion at this point to break with fast, I actually am running out of account siphons, which is pretty rare for my deck. This is an example of the problems with fast sometimes when you draw the cards you're going to need later in the game too early and you ditch them, but then you really need them later.
Isaac's here trying to go up. So we are getting to much later in the round now. So the threat of going to time feels very real, especially when you're playing against an HB deck like this. I feel like that's part of because Isaac knows you play Siphon now.
Yes.
So, and you can get into HQ.
Yes. So this is a kind of a strange play from him because he's going to 6 credits, which is pretty much exactly where I'd want to siphon him from. But on the other hand, he does need to score agendas before time runs out, and his remote server isn't super safe. So he wants to just get points on the board before I manage to steal those agendas from him.
Yeah, and even though HQ you can get through, it's so expensive for you two that it's not worth you to get a single access here. So
so I'm really digging for more siphons at this point, and I'm really mad at myself for discarding so many deja vus and same old things earlier on.
Well, you do have the inject, so you could always try and inject into a deja vu or even, I guess, a same old thing or another siphon, because I still think you've only had the one siphon.
But I also really want 2 clicks to spare to click through the Eli. I don't want to have to spend 3 cards on that. So if I inject into a deja vu, I have to wait a turn, and then he can just reinforce HQ. So it's kind of awkward. But I suppose if I have 3 bad cards, wouldn't mind discarding them to break Eli.
No, Yeah, most of those cards you can just discard to break Eli. I mean, like, you don't...
Yeah.
The fork isn't going to help.
So I think that might be what I do here. I can Deja Vu and Siphon on the last click, discard a whole bunch of cards to break his HQ ice. I'll get 2 sucker tokens back, which will be really useful. So
Yeah.
it's not the worst.
That halves your architect cost. I mean, that's pretty good in and of itself. But, or, use them for Eli. Yeah, it gives you a lot of options. And
So
I think, it looks like you have a couple of mediums, or at least one, and then a knight, 2 in your hand. So you have ways to attack.
yeah, I think I misplayed this mid-game a bit, but there's still definitely room for me to catch back into it and re-seize the tempo. I just need to land an account siphons here and keep Isaac poor for as long as I can while getting some good R&D accesses, or maybe HQ if I think he's flooded. But he has scored out 2 agendas, so it seems like HQ is probably about as dense as R&D.
Yeah, yep, and you're going to Deja Vu the Siphon here.
Decide to go for the play.
Yep, there it is.
There's not much else my deck can do, really. Just clicking for credits forever doesn't do the job. I have to make a move at some point.
Yeah, and the 10 credits is going to help a lot.
Absolutely. I just need to figure out
Knight
which of
is
these
good.
cards are bad.
You're going to discard it? No. Losing the knifed. That would have been nice to use on Eli.
Yeah, that's why I'm really unhappy about this, right? That knife would be so good here. But I don't want to wait and let Isaac respond. If he gets a 3rd ice on HQ, then that's just miserable for me.
Yeah. And he does have the benefit of having his ability back online, but...
And the subliminal messaging,
And
so it's really good for him.
Yeah.
He can recover much faster than normal.
Did you see a lot of decks like this that use Jeeves and Subliminal?
I think Isaac was the only opponent I faced with this style of deck. There might have been one more.
I hadn't seen it at all. So, like, the Jeeves thing is always interesting to me. It's a neat card. It's a collective, except really good.
Collective was really good.
Collective was broken good. Anyway, taking a look and just gaining money, but that Siphon again! You just drew a new Siphon!
That's a pretty good draw.
That's so good!
Top of the deck. Not bad. But he did put an upgrade on R&D, so if that upgrade costs a bunch of money, it does. It's Charisma Grand. Oh well.
This money is yours now. I feel like, if you can keep HB down as long as possible.
Yeah, maybe I should have waited 1 turn in case it was an upgrade that cost 3. Probably should have. If he puts a 3rd ice on HQ, that's fine when he's kind of poor. But, drawing the Siphon top deck is like, oh, come on.
You gotta do it, yeah. And that gives you the money. And now I think you should check R&D here. Oh, I don't think you did. Looks like he already gained money afterwards again.
Well, I clicked through the Eli.
Oh, you drew.
I drew,
right.
And then 3 clicks to run the Eli.
Oh, I thought the draw was the Vigil. But that might not have been the case. No, it doesn't look like it. He doesn't have 5 cards. Never mind. More Eli's.
The size is so efficient.
Yeah, I think the IQ makes a lot more sense now. That's probably Isaac's only, or one of his only few code gates. He probably plays at least 2 of those.
Yeah.
So
and so many cyber decks is so painful. Because he's a fast advanced deck, it makes sense for him to run all these cyber decks that happen to be quite good against me.
Clot's a real threat, man.
Yeah.
When you want to play fast advance.
Pretty sure time is really close now. That's why I'm trying to play really fast.
You both look like the pace is picked up a little bit. Pressure is back on. Especially you are top seed though. So if you score any 2-pointer, then you're going to end up ahead on here.
Yeah, it's pretty tough for him to score at this point, but accesses are hard for me to get to. I don't have medium set up. And I'm just kind of in a bad spot. If I had more time to develop, I think I could do a better job. I can try to set up more and play a medium. but right now I just need to get accesses. And I think time was just called. So I think I'm clarifying how many more turns I get. This might be the last turn, or maybe the next turn will be the last turn.
2 cards. I think this is... Yeah, I think this is it.
Yeah.
Cool. The thing is right now, he doesn't have enough money to biotic. I mean, like, this game going to time really is difficult. And, you know, the cut now, it's iffy on whether you're gonna finish anymore. And especially against these HB and IG Glacier builds, or Glacier or Infinite Chokehold things, can be more difficult to securely win or lose in this amount of time.
Yeah, 35 minutes is too short, and also against the slow corp deck, when my runner deck is kind of built around slowing them down, it can be pretty tough. I'm gonna run HQ because I never run HQ, so it seems like a good shot that agendas are there.
I think you got to check archives or R&D, excuse me.
Yeah, so I was thinking and how I could get the most accesses, and I realized I could run HQ once, get the 2 data stacker counters, and use them to break Eli, and get an access in R&D, and I got it.
And that was it.
Yeah, so I did manage to figure out how I could get the most accesses on the last turn, and it paid out for me. It's not really a win. We both have 4 points, but I was second seed, so I'm going to advance. Not the most ideal way to win a match, unfortunately.
But you were able to hold out, and that was a grind of a game, even against an HB deck like this that has really, really tough, difficult ice for you to get through. So you even though the central accesses were difficult, you really locked down the remotes well, and there was never a window for him to score out.
That's true. I think I played it okay. Could have probably done a lot better. I could have played faster also, but it was a tricky matchup that I hadn't really played before. Isaac did a really good job kind of defending around the possibility of Siphon, so I really needed to do a lot of work to figure out how to best keep him down, even against his precautions. So it was a really intricate game, and it's unfortunate that we didn't get to finish it.
And that's all the time that we have as well. Thank you very much for watching. Be sure to check back for more Top 8 Vegas coverage soon. And thank you as well, Timmy, for joining me on this one.
Thanks for having me, Ben.
No sweat. Signing off. Later, guys.
Bye.